Unsyndicated presents Off the Air with Sean Baligian.
Up. Listen, it is Thursday night. I have an interesting question. You guys have probably heard me say this before, but I think we're all set in our ways as sports fans, right? We really are. We're set in our ways. Hold on, let me finish typing this. What do the Pistons have to do to grab your attention? How's that? We are set in our ways as sports fans. We have so many things going on, right? Life happens. I'm a firm believer in life happens. Sometimes, you have great plans. Sometimes they fall through. Kids, responsibility, whatever the case may be. Todd and I were just talking about this off the air. Like, this is usually a busy time of year for me. This has been a really busy time of year for me. And Todd's going through that same thing as well. And I wish that I had more time to fit more things on my sports plate. I just don't. I don't, right? I'll tune into Michigan State basketball. I didn't see the game last night because I was at a hockey game, but the Spartans are doing well. Spartan hockey, obviously is near and dear to my heart. I'm really intrigued at this Piston team right now. I really am. And hear me out. Go win a championship? Nah. Even win a couple playoff rounds? Nah. Maybe win a playoff round? Yeah, why not? And then I'll think about two. Because, good evening, Tom. The way Cade Cunningham is playing right now, Mike, go Pistons. Boy, I haven't heard that in a while, right? I mean, honestly, let's. It has been. I have never seen in my lifetime a franchise. Why not? I'm with you. I've never seen a franchise just fall off the map the way the Pistons have. Never. Not in this town. Not when you're talking about the majors. Hold on, let me finish. What do the Pistons have to do to grab your attention? There was a time not that long ago, and if you remember my former radio station, The Fan, we were the home of the Pistons. And I'm telling you what, and Todd, you're probably old enough to remember this. Going to a Piston game was almost like a social night. It was. That was the place to be and be seen. I'm not exaggerating. And especially when the playoffs started, it was off the hook. And as Tom said, they've won 8 games in a row. Cade Cunningham is playing at, really an exceptional level, okay? And again, you guys, I'm not trying to pull one over on you. I don't get a chance to see him that much because with everything else going on, here tonight's another example. You know what? I'm watching hockey tonight as soon as this is done. That's why I'm not talking hockey a lot tonight, because I figured that there would be a lot of people out there that are watching hockey right now, right? They're watching the Wings, they're watching the Habs, whatever the case may be. So that's why I wanted to do a little bit of this. So trust me when I say this. I am not sitting here saying, I'm watching every night and you should be watching as well. I'm not. It's my life is just at a crazy point right now where I wish I could, but I'm not. But that doesn't mean that I'm not invested. That doesn't mean that I'm not invested. I like following along. I like seeing what Cade Cunningham did. I like, actually, for the first time in forever, as Mike said, he's watching the Red Wings. Absolutely. I don't blame anybody. Look, I'm going to come do these anyway. Sometimes we have thousands of people watching. Sometimes it's a few hundred. And I just like chatting with you guys, right? So at the end of the day, I don't want you to think that I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. I'm not saying you should pay attention to me out of this side, and then out of this side going, I'm not really paying attention to them. I can pay attention to them, but I'm not seeing every game. I'm not even gonna lie to you about that, okay? But I'm surprised, and I want to ask you guys as well. I'm surprised that there isn't more of a buzz. I know the guys that I work with at Woodward are helping create a good buzz. There's no doubt about that. And obviously, FanDuel, another entity I've done some stuff for, FanDuel is doing a good job as the home, but it just doesn't seem to me like there's a buzz deserving of what they're doing right now. And I mean, they pounded the Boston Celtics last night. So I don't know. Any theories? Is it because people are sitting back saying, yeah, okay, we've seen this in the last 18 years, 17. I mean, really and legitimately. Okay, this franchise has not been good since 2008. You understand they haven't won a playoff game, right? In almost 17 years. May of 2008. They have not won a playoff game. A playoff game. Chris said play hockey. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like Chris, you know me, dude. I hope you guys know me. I'm never going to tell somebody you shouldn't like or like this or you should like that. I'm never going to tell anybody how to think and what you should watch and stuff like that. I get it. I have so much hockey on my plate right now that I haven't had a chance to watch this team as much as I want. But if this makes sense, I can't say I'm all in, but I'm very intrigued. And I think when my schedule kind of loosens up, you know, it's almost like that late night run to Taco Bell where you need to loosen up a little bit. Everybody's got their different thing, right? Some people, it was White Castles. You bury a few Bates burgers. That loosens things up. For me, it was always Taco Bell. Man, if I went and got like 2 soft tacos, I knew I'd be on the throne in 10 minutes. No, but once my schedule loosens up a little bit, yeah, you know what? I'm going to start making it destination viewing. And I haven't been able to say that in a long, long time. And part of it, if I'm being honest, and you guys have heard me say this before, I think part of it was the delusional Piston fans. Now, come on, if you were one of them, you can admit it now. Come on, now that they're good, now that they're legitimate, now that they have a bona fide, I think this far away from being a bona fide flat-out stud superstar in Cade Cunningham, can some of you in the basketball elite admit that you were trying to sell us some bogus crap in the last 15 years? Do you know how many times, no, this team's better than this team's better than we thought? I get it. It's part of fandom. I do. I'm not going to crap on you for that. But I think the flip side to that was always they got really mad at you if you couldn't see how great Rodney Stuckey was. If you couldn't see that the 2016 Detroit Pistons had a really good chance to make a long run. You know, I mean, all that stuff, right? Hold on, let me finish taping this. So that's, and I'll get to some of your comments in a second, but that's just a question for you guys. And a lot of you guys are watching hockey. I'll be doing it again in a few minutes. You know me. I have 2 games on upstairs. Seriously, I have the Wings on one TV, I have the Habs on the other. Hi, how you doing? And I'm going to do something I never, ever, 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 ever do. But I'm going to look and see what the score is. Once again, Sam Mountain blows, is in net for the Habs. Nick Suzuki has 2 goals, tied it up late. That's 2-2. No score in that tilt with the Blue Jackets and Wings. Hold on, the Wings just scored. Alex DeBrincat just scored. Huge 2-game swing with Columbus. Let's be honest. It really is kind of like the Ottawa from a couple years ago. So yeah, to me, guys, I think this is a good team. I think that this is legitimate. I really, truly do. And so many of you basketball elite have gotten mad at me over the years. Hater. You're right. You're right. Now, if I can admit that you were right, you have to admit that I was right. You were right. I did hate less than basketball. I did hate people telling me all the time that they were infinitely better than I thought. You were right. Not for the reasons you thought. And now you can sit back and tell me that this has been a Wobbegron franchise for a long time. And all of a sudden, things are looking good. This is a team, guys, right now, they're in the 6th spot. They're only a game behind. A game behind the Pacers right now for the 4 spot. Now, that's pretty cool. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Could you imagine a first-round series between the Pistons and the Knicks? How stinking cool would that be? Especially to beat the Knicks. Oh, please. Because I think Knicks have the market cornered on delusional fan base. Please. Oh, my gosh, would that be great? Let me finish typing this. Hold on. What do the Pistons have to do to grab your attention? All right. Fantastic. And I know, and conversely, as I said, a lot of you are all in on Michigan basketball or Michigan State basketball. Incredible shot last night, obviously. I'm used to that happening against my team all the time. I am. To see it happen for my team was pretty stinking cool. What's up, Sean? Eric, what's up? I only listen to Sean on mouse side that has a dip for a million trenched in it. Man, I could pack a fat one right now. Oh, I can feel it. As soon as somebody says it, I can feel it right there. Flipping back between Combine and the Wings. Eric, I don't know if you guys do this. Eric, I'm so glad that you brought this up. Todd, do you do this? All right, so I have a little office. Todd, you've been over the house. I have a little office upstairs. It's computer room, office, whatever you want to call it. And it drives everybody in the house crazy, but I leave the TV on in there like constantly. It's on constantly. Like, no joke. It's just on constantly. And this time of year, I just leave the Underwear Olympics on. Like, it's on the NFL Network right now, and the Underwear Olympics are just on constantly. And it's one of those things, like, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I couldn't sit down and say, well, I'm going to watch the Underwear Olympics for the next hour. I'm going to watch the Underwear Olympics for the next 2 hours. But it's one of those things, if I'm walking by the hallway and I see something that catches my eye or piques my interest, then I sit back and I go, ooh, you know what I mean? And then I pop into the room and I sit back and watch it at that point in time. So Bill said, hopefully the Wings are watching the Pistons and taking notes. Hey, Bill, I'm glad you brought that up. You guys, the Pistons have a better chance of making the playoffs than the Red Wings do right now. Oh, what? No, they do. Like, that's where we're at right now, you know? It's pretty cool. Bill, I cannot even think about football this time of year. The only time I do is the Underwear Olympics. And you know the NFL doesn't like it because it's there. To your point, Bill, the NFL wants to own the sports calendar for 11 and a half months. They do. That's their goal. That's their mission. They want it for 11 and a half months. And they know come March 1st, whether it be a guy like Reeves-Maben, whether it be Rodgers, contractual things. March 1st comes. Sorry, I said May. March 1st comes and all of a sudden things start to get busy again, the new calendar year, right? And then all of a sudden you've got draft. And then all of a sudden you've got the NFL schedule release. And then there's that month, about a month, maybe a little over, where there isn't a whole hell of a lot going on. But then it's the training camp hype that starts. So, I mean, legitimately, this, right? You know this. This was their plan many years ago. They wanted to own the sports calendar. And for a lot of people out there, the Underwear Olympics hold their attention. Sean Parker, hi. Nice to see you, Sean. Rodney Stuckey. Yeah, that was. But you know what I'm saying? And what ticked me off is it wasn't just Joe that did it. Joe kind of stuck his flag in the ground with Rodney Stuckey and got way too stubborn. So many fans did it. And it was one of those things, if you remember, Joe for a while could do no wrong. But then once the wrong started coming, they kind of started to go downhill, right? Would anybody go to the Wings Jackets outdoor game Saturday, even if the tickets were free? I think a lot of people would, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they? Todd, would you? Todd, I got 2 tickets. You want to drive down to Columbus to go to the Wings Columbus game? Down at the Horseshoe? He said no. Bill, you know what? Would I? No. Been there, done that. I've been to quite a few. So I wouldn't either. But I think a lot of people would, right? I don't know. Troy said they have mine. Troy, I'm with you. And again, at the same time, I wish that I could see them more. I do. I wish that I could see them more because, as I said, next week I'm really busy with a bunch of hockey stuff right now. This is one of those things that I have a feeling I'm going to do it. Like I asked my son, I said, would you go to a Pistons game? He's like, hell yeah. He hasn't been to a Pistons game at Little Caesars yet. Like we were talking about it. It's been years. Like we went to the Palace. It's been literal years. All right, more of your thoughts in just a second. I almost threw a phone number out there. See, old habits die hard, Todd. More of your thoughts in just a second. Phone lines are open, 248-848-1130. Pound, baby, pound 1130 on your cell phone. Remember when people started texting? That was such a weird new, wait a second, people are texting the show and sharing their thoughts via text. And more often than not, you know the mean people? Like you always got, I can't tell you how often I got, you're dumb, right? I can't even. And listen, thanks? Water's wet? Like, oh, dude, you're dumb. Okay. The sun's yellow. But let me tell you something, Todd. When the texting started, oh, you listen to me. You had some heroes on the text. I thought the faxers were bad. I really did. I thought the faxers were bad. Oh, the texters were just immensely heroic. I don't even know how they put you on the radio, all that stuff. Like I always say to people, dude, you're going to have to get really creative. I have heard it all. You are just going to have to take my word for it. I have legitimately heard it all. Okay? So you're gonna have to get real creative with stuff like that. Let me tell you about All About Catering. All About Catering LLC, full service caterer. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today. Check out their menus and all their 5-star reviews. I did it for Rick and his staff because they've taken care of me and my family a couple different times. They will take care of you as well. Great food, great guy as well. 586-731-1398 to get your event started. And you know, the beautiful thing about the Pistons right now, and I'm going to read all your wacky zany comments, and I hope you're all calling me dumb, is you have to remember they're doing this without an integral piece of their puzzle in Jaden Ivey. This is cool. And, you know, every night you're seeing Cade Cunningham look the part of the number one pick. Because a few years ago, like when he was drafted, this was a little pet peeve of mine, and I probably pissed off some of you guys, okay? The spontaneous celebrations that started all around town when we won that stupid ping pong ball, Like, really, I'm not going to lie to you. You could probably tell by the way I reacted, but now I can tell you years later. It pissed me the bleep off. Do you know when I want to celebrate a number one pick? When the number one pick plays like a number one pick. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to party and when you should party and not, but don't get mad at me when I go, great, fantastic. Have a blast. Enjoy your party. But listen, it's not being a stick in the mud. You know what I'm going to celebrate? Is when that number one pick looks like a number one pick, looks like a stud, looks like the cornerstone of a franchise, right? Hater, stick in the mud. Again, you guys got to get better than that. Got to get better than that. So we'll see. We're not quite ready for the Knicks, in my opinion. Wouldn't it be great, though? Could you imagine that? The center of the universe, the world's most famous arena, knock the Knicks off in the first round. I mean, that's pants around my ankle afternoon stuff. It really is. Jason said no White Castles in the UP. You know what you do have, though, Jason? When and you know this. Well, no, see, you go the other way. But Todd, when you go up through Munising and then you have to weave this way up towards Marquette and over to Holt and everything, there is a Hardee's. And I'm telling you, Hardee's is totally underrated. There aren't a lot of Hardee's around here. I don't even know if there are any Hardee's left. But honestly, when I roll that way, Jason, I'm a big fan. Hardee's. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Have Woodward Sports stopped slobbering all over the Pistons as if they could go 7 games with the 72 Lakers? I don't blame people for being excited. I mean, Tim, you know me. I try to keep things in perspective. I try to keep things in perspective about my team. I try to keep things in perspective about your team. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. There are people that think the Pistons are ready to make a legitimate run. I do not agree with that, okay? I don't. There are some people that just aren't intrigued at all, and I really don't agree with that. And more often than not, what I like to do is I like to say, as primitive and dumb as it sounds, are they passing the eye test? Are they passing the eye test? I think the answer to that is a definitive yes, right? If I leave any TV unattended, my 8-year-old's radar pings and he runs and takes control. That's just the one in my office. I don't know. No, like nobody wants to go in there. Maybe it smells of smoked meat and dip. And so nobody wants to go in that room, right? Can I get a shout out to my dog, Alex? What up, Alex? I think that's the first time in my – no, that's the second time in my life that I gave a dog a shout out. I gave a shout out to a guy, Caller Paul. Some of you might remember this, who I have no other way to say it. I have a feeling my man was drinking one Sunday afternoon, and the Lions had just lost to the Cowboys, and he called the postgame show, and he started crying. Todd, this is a true story. And I looked across the room at my producer, Spicoli, and he started laughing. And I was like, don't do this. I got to be serious. I don't know what's going on in this life. I don't want to, maybe there are other things going on. So I can't laugh as this man is crying. And then he could not stop laughing. So I had to turn my mic off. And Paul, I apologize if you're watching. I had to laugh. And he got so worried. He got so worked up. He said, I don't know. I didn't know what to do, bud. I hugged my dog. So hug my dog became a drop for like 2 years. And then I had to give a shout out to his dog, okay, that sounds good. Mike said the 2-3 week break from the NFL when we hear Miggy's in the best shape of his life. Great show as always. Go all 4 teams. Mike, Shep and I were talking about that the other night. No disrespect to the people that have to report on spring training. There is nothing funnier to me throughout the year. Spring training headlines are hysterical. The only thing in my lifetime that rivals that is Steve Mariucci's Camp Happy Times. That's it. Nothing, Kenta figured it out. This is the year for Casey Mize. I think they finally have to drop the Matt Manning stuff after, what is it, 71 years now of this is the year Matt Manning puts it together. I love that stuff. Bill said Darko was before and after on Joe D's GM tenure, passing on Mello. D. Wade Bosch remains unforgivable. For me, you made a mistake with Darko. It's I get it. Somebody was going to take him, but Joe has to own it, right? And I think what made Joe great, Bill, early in his tenure is his ability to admit he made a mistake and move on. I think as it went on, it went away. Rodney Stuckey, case in point. And I say this all the time. The whole Joe's hands were tied stuff after Mr. Davison's passing it's just not true. That was what I referred to back then as Palace spin. The two signings that put this franchise into an absolute tailspin were 3 months after Mr. Davison passed. Do you remember? Ben Gordon and Charlie Villanueva? And, Joe couldn't do anything. His hands were tied. There was a pretty good spin going on back then, if you remember. I'd rather be shot than go to the horseshoe. Tim, can I say this, though? And I'm serious. I'm really serious. It's a really cool place to see a game. It's a very unique place with a very unique fan base. It's pretty cool. I'm not joking. I would tell you, especially as a Michigan fan, and I would tell fans of anybody, it's probably in your best interest if you go to an Ohio State football game in a group. I'm not being funny, and we've done this bit for years, and if somebody who is an Ohio State fan is watching right now, they'd probably tell you the same thing. It would be in your best interest to go in a group of people. I'm not being funny. Todd, you and your kids, hey, we got tickets. We're going to go see Michigan. We're going to go see the game down in Columbus. Todd, I'm not joking. I wouldn't recommend that. I'm not being funny. I'd go, well, good luck. And you go, no, it's not that bad. And they go, no, it is that bad. And then Buckeye fans, again, if they're watching, they'll probably say the same thing. Because a lot of Buckeye fans that I know have said this. They were like, we're not proud of it, but he's not wrong. Keyboard warriors are unbeaten. They always are, Bill. You got that right. Sean is and always will be my favorite Detroit sports guy. That McCarty kid is okay, too. Mike, thank you very much. Detroit basketball. The dumb is strong. Jason, the dumb may beat me down, but I can't stop fighting it. There was a time where I was like, I'm done fighting it, but I can't stop fighting it. Number one playing like a number one. Holy Spencer Torkelson. Well, we saw a torque bomb today. You know the way that spring training reports are, Jerry. He's back too, right? Yeah, Torque's back. All right, let me tell you about Lindsay Broadwell. When it comes time to get yourself a new house, you're buying, you're selling, oftentimes both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? That lady right there, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you will ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business, and when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure that you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, it doesn't matter. Lindsay's got your back. So why don't you contact her? Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker, LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Not sure if Ivy is a good fit with Cade. He needs to improve his shooting. Ivy's speed is electric. Time will tell. I think that's fair. I mean, we saw how integral he was, before when it started to come together, Bill. But I get your point. I just, what's cool? Having legitimate conversations about the Detroit Pistons and not hoping. The lasting legacy of one Jim Schwartz to me was a quote that he dropped. I want to say it was the 2010 training camp. And Killer and I were standing next to each other. My old partner, Killer, and I were standing next to each other before we had to go in and do our dumb radio show. And he said something about somebody asked him a question about, do you hope this or you? And Schwartz was like, well, hope is not a strategy. And I was like, yes. Be realistic about what you are. He knew what that team was. That was a team not even 2 years removed from being the worst team in National Football League history. Yes, they took a step up. They took a step up in 2009, and they were to take a step up in 2010, but they weren't at that point yet. And hope wasn't a strategy. And like, I've always been that, man, shoot straight with me. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Just don't urinate on my back and tell me it's raining, right? And I think, unfortunately, with some of the franchises in town, that's been the case for a while. I'm Shawner for Stick in the Mud. I've been doing that forever. Frisco Burger is elite. Dude, don't get me started on Hardee's. Don't get me. There's also a Hardee's in Escanaba. Tough loss, Jason. I thought you might have a chance against the Sioux, by the way. We're speaking in a different language right now. Did you go off like a schoolgirl after that miracle game-winning basketball? Eric, I brought it up earlier. I was at a hockey game, but my phone blew up. When plays, I swear to God, I'll say it again. I'm used to things like that happening against my team. You know what I mean? The foot on the line, the three-pointer that wasn't, the Kemper Arena clock. That's for you old-timers out there. Nobody could explain that to me when I was a kid. No, I was a little kid, and I was like, the clock didn't move. Yeah, but the clock stopped. Yeah. The clock stopped. How? Nobody, like the officials, they didn't have their own time. They yeah. Okay, cool. I have a picture at Hardee's from a road trip I took with my wife and her twin sister to Buffalo, somewhere on the QEW. Yeah. Was it one of those travel plazas on the? I could tell you horrible stories about some of those travel plazas, by the way. I could tell you horrible stories about going to Montreal and French girls saying to myself and Monsieur Michel Ivesil, "That's not fair." But I'm not going to tell you that story. Todd, you might already know that story, but I'm not going to tell. You know what? That'll be like off the air after dark, right? Where we put the thing underneath. Parents, while we encourage you to monitor your children, we also encourage no one under 18 listen to this show. This is Off the Air after dark. Carlos, don't get me started. Oh, Jason, I think I'm healing from some of that. I do. Oh boy. I used to hear from him and he kind of disappeared. Like even long after I was done doing the dumb Jason, I used to hear from him for a while. We need to re-sign Beasley. What was your favorite Gene Hackman movie? Where do you put Hoosiers? Wow. Now, if you know me, Unforgiven is one of my favorite movies, period. Like that final scene in the rain when Clint Eastwood comes and confronts Little Bill. I think it's cinematic perfection. I'm not joking. Like Hoosiers is unbelievable. I mean, who doesn't like Hoosiers? I thought he was really good in Crimson Tide with Denzel Washington, kind of an underrated movie. I thought he was really good as the preacher in Poseidon Adventure. Todd, have you seen Poseidon Adventure? Like from 19. There's got to be a morning after. Cher didn't sing it, and I'm not going into Cher, okay? All right, so since you brought it, Unforgiven, like that almost doesn't count because it's like one of my favorite movies, period. All right, Todd, I got one for you. Everybody loves I'm Your Huckleberry, right? Everybody loves Tombstone. Death not an option. Tombstone or Unforgiven. And that goes for you guys out there. Death not an option. Unforgiven or Tombstone. That's like the impossible question, isn't it? I just wish Unforgiven was on TV as much as Tombstone because I love Tombstone. I can't tell you how much I love Tombstone. I also love a particular person in that movie, and Dana Delaney. All right, Ray, I'm getting easily distracted. The ADD meds aren't working. Unforgiven. I guess I got to put Hoosiers number 2. Crimson Tide. I'll go 3. French Connection, Poseidon Adventure. Poseidon Adventure. How's that? Favorite Gene Hackman movie, 248-848-1130. Sean, I hug my dog. Absolutely. Good point. Maya's finding a new pitch at age 30 almost. We buried Mary Hugh's fat ass while he was on TV last year. Yeah. Last call. Manning, Mize, and Torque. People are done with it, right? I think we've heard enough. People finally dropped Matt Manning, for goodness sake. I live in Ohio, but I root for Michigan and State. All right. Blue Jackets tied up at 1. I was so excited, Sean. I remember listening to it. That was unbelievable. That was really, really unbelievable. Killer was a legend. Yes, he was. It's taken 15 years, but it's cool that they actually talked Pistons on PTI, and it was about their legit and it not a record losing streak. Ray, I'm with you. The Pistons were like a top story. I'm serious. You guys have probably heard me say this over the years. I have never seen a team in this town kind of capture the essence of what Detroit is like the 2004 Pistons. Never. There's no comparison. And I lived through 84, and I lived through the Bad Boys, and I lived through there was something about that team that just, it was so Detroit. It was cast-offs coming together and putting together, a magical year and knocking off a team that nobody thought they would knock off, especially after they went out and got the glove and Karl Malone. Nobody gave that team a chance. And it's funny because I didn't know Lindsey real well back then. I saw him in the room and everything, but I got a chance to know Lindsey Hunter over the years. Great guy. Shout out, Lindsey. And it's really funny because Lindsey told me that he told all his boys with the Lakers, he was like, we're going to kick your ass. Like, I'm not saying this as, a homer, member of the Pistons, everything. Like, we're going to kick your ass. And they didn't exactly hide their confidence. And everybody was kind of like, okay, you're so cute. You're just not ready yet. They kicked their ass. If it wasn't for a miraculous shot by Kobe in game 2, probably would have been a sweep, right? Imagine that. Kudos to Sean for not laughing at the emotional caller. Do they train you on that? No, I don't know. That's like, to me, that's kind of, I'm not trying to be a sweetie pie. You just I don't know what a guy's going through. Does that make sense? I don't know and especially as they get older, I don't have the time nor the patience more often than not to argue with people anymore. I don't know what you're going through. I just, there's way too much mental duress out there. Mental health is very important. I'm not trying to get on a, milk crate or anything. It's or a soapbox, as it were. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe just being compassionate, I suppose. Hey, if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than my boys at the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by Mike Cusack on the left, Jeff Cusack on the right, two brothers with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are, and that's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help navigate you through the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, you're already in retirement, doesn't matter. These guys can help guide you through every step of the journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life. They have clients in over 20 different states. I'm serious. They've done great things for my family. They're great guys. They will take care of you as well. The investment world, it is a very complex one. So if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. Reach out to the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Okay? Fantastic. Appreciate you. Great. Outstanding. Still a far cry from how bad Eski High School hockey was when I played there, and all well before and quite a while after. I think it's pretty cool. I like the stories like that. Like Jason, right now, like Jeffers, for people out there that don't know, this little town Jeffers is, and it's like basically a conglomerate of a whole bunch of cities around them. Made this incredible run so far, and they're one win away. They have to knock off Sioux, mind you. They're one win away from going to the Final Four at USA Hockey Arena next week. What a great story. I love stuff like that. Just a great story. Great empathy, bro. Thank you, Bill. I'm not trying to, I don't know what people are going through. Like that, I don't know. It's not, there's time and place for stuff like that. There's a Hardee's at 15 and Mound. Road trip. Todd, is there really a Hardee's at 15 and Mound? I am so there. I would put Hoosiers at more. They need to be a TV more. Andrew, what's up? I would put Hoosiers at number one. Be on TV more. Andrew, I got what you're saying. I was once trapped at a Canadian Travel Plaza just outside of Guelph for 10 hours due to a massive pileup on the 401 after a snow squall. Todd, did Mike and I ever tell you the crazy story when we went to when we drove to Montreal in the snowstorm? Oh, you're shaking your head. So it's funny you say that, Doug. Early December, we were going to Montreal to see a Montreal Bruins game. We leave early Friday morning, and we made it to Toronto very quickly, maybe 3.5 hours. I like to speed. And then all of a sudden it started snowing. Like once we got just west of Toronto, by the time you got to the outskirts of Toronto, going the other way east, okay, the greater Toronto area, they closed the 401 down. This is a true story. Honestly, the next time Mike's on, like, What the Puck, we'll talk about this. So they closed the 401 down. And if we were closer to the border with Quebec, I would have been able to take some back roads. I would have been able to, okay, well, I know from Cornwall, all I need to do is this. But I don't even think we were to Oshawa yet. And so we got off the expressway, and we drove into this little town, and there was a OPP post there. Not you down with OPP, yeah, you know me, but Ontario Provincial Police. And so I walked in, and I was like, officer, this is going to sound crazy, but we're going to see the Habs and the Bruins. Like I got to get to Montreal. Okay. I mean, I got to get to Montreal. Like, what? Help me out here, bro. And he was, total OPP, like, officer, like, sir, I highly recommend you to stay here this evening. It is not in the best interest of the public to drive anywhere this evening. Dude, listen, I got tickets to the Habs and Bruins at the Montreal Forum. Please, sir, as a member of the Ontario Provincial Police, I strongly urge you to stay in Oshawa tonight. As a hockey fan, I would tell you to take this road for 2 kilometers, then jump on that road for 2 kilometers. Then you'll catch up to Highway 2. You can take Highway 2 pretty close to the Quebec border. And once he said that, then I was like, okay, because then from there, I know where to jump on Highway 20, which will take me straight up the gut in Montreal. Thank you. Todd, can we find that Ontario Provincial Police officer and maybe send him a fruit basket or something? So true. That's a true story. I kid you not. It took us 17 hours to get to Montreal. 17. It was the worst. Jason said Tombstone. Enemy of the State, very underrated, by the way. Quick and the Dead's great. Thank you. The Unforgiven won the Oscar for Best Picture. Enough said. Ooh, 3-1 Jackets. Jeez. Sorry. I'm not singing anything from Johnny B. Bad, Eric. Sorry about that. The Tigers being good again was so fun, and now the Pistons are the same. Last night was the first time I truly felt good watching a Pistons game that I had a reaction loud enough to scare my wife and cat since the late 2000s. Kevin, that's what's pretty cool about it. Like, all jokes aside, it's pretty cool about it, man. And I don't know what to believe from the Tigers this year. Like, you know the way I feel. I've said it 100 times. I think the Tigers are good. Good. I also think that this is going to be a replay of what we saw in 2007. That was a near miracle that happened last year. We can all admit that, right? It was the collapse of the Twins. It was chaos working all of that stuff. And I always remind people in 2007, well, surely this was the beginning of an unparalleled era of success for the Tigers. And then we waited 5 years to make the playoff again. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be 5 years to make the playoff again. I just think sometimes we as fans get stuck in this linear thinking. Well, if this happened, well, that means this must happen. Well, the Detroit Lions are living proof that this happened. And to all the people that thought that this was going to happen, that happened. And they took a step back. As great as the regular season was, and it was, okay? Number 1 seed. I'm sorry. When you're one and done in the playoffs, that's a backward step. You're judged ultimately by the success and failure that you have in the playoff. And I think we're all a little guilty of linear thinking sometimes. Just one man's opinion. Shauna would totally be my preferred GPS navigation system voice in Canada. That's funny. 4-2. Send him firecracker. Oh, do you know what I'd do to a firecracker right now? Oh, Kirk, we need to talk to Ivesil to get a firecracker. The last time the Pistons won 8 in a row was 2007, 2008. Alan, isn't it nuts? Think about this. That's the last time they've won a playoff game. A playoff game. You guys can fact check me. I'm almost positive they got eliminated on Memorial Day 2008. Because that was one of those magical times where the Wings and the Wings and the Pens were just getting started in the Stanley Cup, because I was doing all the shows on Fox 2 at the time. It was Greg, Stephan, myself, and Dan Miller. And you were like, are the Pistons going back to the finals at the same time the Wings are in the finals? How cool would that be? But the Celtics ended up winning that series in 6, and obviously they went and won the NBA championship that year. Todd, what do you have for me? What is that? Don't tell me that's oh, sweet Lord in heaven. Oh my gosh, I'm so there. I love Hardee's. I'm sorry, those burgers are outstanding. I don't care what anybody says. All right, we got to get out of here. Eric, thank you very much for the kind words. You rock back in the day and after at the beer company and with the Lions. Yeah, we had a lot of fun out there. Hey, did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters have already called Legacy Partners to help with their home and auto insurance? Would you look at that graphic? Todd, it's almost like you do this for a living or something, dude. Our friends at Legacy are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. And if you think that graphic looks cool, wait till you get their service. Like, I'm not joking when I say this, okay? They hooked my family up. The savings we enjoy is outstanding. Tony Sierra, Frisco Burger, shout out. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you and, yep, help save you some money. Chances are, and this is where we were guilty, I mean, who checks their policies, right? And if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're probably paying too much and you could be underinsured. What are you waiting for? Give Legacy Partners a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Give them a call today at 586-209-4106 or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quote. Hardee's is a new sponsor. Oh my gosh, please. Are you kidding me? Their burgers are tremendous. Greg Steffen was Glenn Hanlon unavailable. One of my favorite series. Remember that series, the 87 series with Brophy? Remember that? Unbelievable. Steph, great guy. Shout out to Greg Steffen. Yeah, Steffen and I did the pre- and post-game shows on Fox 2 during the 08 playoffs and the Stanley Cup championship. And then in 09, it was Ken Daniels and I. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Lot of fun. Listen, Todd, thank you. You know what's really cool about this? I can say this on this show, and I couldn't say this back in the day. I got to go. I got to piss like a racehorse. Like, seriously, I've been holding it in for about 5 minutes, and I'm going now, okay? So see you guys. Bye. Take care. I got to go piss. Bye. See ya.
Off the Air with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Play It Loud by Jam Studio. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.